not taking me, are you? Oh, okay. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Visual Artists of Topeka tonight. Yes, as the roars, and there's so many people in here tonight. Yay! Okay, my name is Sandra C. Dawkins, and we are here. We're going to do a presentation about wet felting, and we're also going to talk about our artist call that we have out for April. That show is going to be called the Flora and Fauna Show. It's going to be at the Topeka Art Guild, and we have Han here who's going to speak a little bit about the other show at the Topeka Art Guild, and then after he talks, we'll come up and introduce Susan, who is going to talk to us about wet felting and let us do a demonstration on that, and actually let us make a little small vessel, right?
Small ball.
A small ball, okay. Han, you want to come talk about this? All right. Thank you.
So my name is Mark Hahn. I'm the committee member for the Topeka Art Guild. We're having an art fair March 1st and 2nd in Fairlawn Plaza Mall. We advertise through a publication called ZAP, which goes out throughout the entire country. So we have artists. The last I looked, we accepted 35 artists. They'll set up 10 by 10 booths within the mall for the 2 days, March 1st and 2nd. And I noticed we had from Wisconsin, we have an artist coming, from Pennsylvania, and mostly Northeast Kansas, Lawrence, Manhattan, Topeka, Kansas City. I couldn't go on and on, but we have some very talented artists. This was a juried show. We just finished jurying last week and sent it back out to the artists, and now we're accepting their fees to join. We'll have help moving in and out. The guild will be open that day, the gallery will be, and we'll be hosting a show at that same time. We have 3 featured artists, Barbara Waterman Peters, Larry Peters, and Callie Crawman. These are, you could say, veterans artists of this area. These are icons that have been in Topeka forever and ever. It's going to be great to see them as featured artists. They will have a few pieces in the show. I think we'll host them in the gallery also. They're just there to hang out and talk. And that's kind of the way they would like to do it. So we're just going to cater to them best we can, and they can just entertain all our guests all day long. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. Again, as we were talking about at the Artist Guild, our show is going to be in April. We're taking submissions now. If you check out our Facebook online, the Visual Artists of Topeka group, you can find the Artist Call, which has explicit details on what size limits that we have, and we hope that you will participate. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Susan. I met Susan through Artist Inc., and she's an amazing artist from Lawrence, Topeka. That is not right. From Lawrence, Kansas, not Lawrence, Topeka. And I'm excited to see the wet felting process that she has. Susan also has a few works in here tonight that she probably talked to us a little bit about, but she has a studio out there and she does classes, so let's hear what she has to tell us.
Give me 1 minute. So, one of the things about the VAT show is that please go to the VAT and look at the registration form. You have to fill up the registration form for the show for April. The other thing is there's a faculty art show at Mulvane. So, it will start on January 28th. The exhibition is open to public, but the real opening will be on February 7th. All of you are invited. It's all the art faculty. They're having a show at the Mulvane. So please, you're welcome to come and see. Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Sandra. So I'm Susan Poer. I'm a mixed media artist, and I have a passion for the creative process. And I love teaching in the community, and I love teaching people who want to explore their creativity. So today I'm going to show you how to make a wet felted vessel. So these are all examples of some of the wet felted vessels I've made. A couple of different sizes. And it's and then these are taking my love for ceramics. So I've made all of these little pinch pots, and then I made a wet felted vessel that I then stuffed and made little pin cushions. So I love combining different processes. And I do have some work here in this show right now. So this piece is a combination of painting, drawing, and some textile work. There's some ribbon flowers I made, as well as ceramic pieces that I incorporated into this piece. This is an example of my ceramic work. And then this is a silk painting, so painting with dyes on silk. And they all incorporate my doodle style that I'm really starting to flesh out as part of my voice as an artist. Okay, so wet felting. So wet felting is where you take unspun wool called roving. So this is roving. And we are going to add water, hence the wet part, and felt it. And felting is when it gets, it'll shrink, the fibers will adhere to one another, and it'll get really dense. So it'll be able to hold its shape. So if you would like to learn how to make a little ball, I have a whole bunch of balls that I've made here. If you'd like to make one, come on up and we'll get started. First, you're going to want to pick a color. And you're going to want to take the roving. Come on. There's plenty for everyone. Don't be shy.
I'm just trying to get the camera so we can still see.
Grab some roving, and you're going to kind of spread the end of it. And then with your hand, just gently pull off a little bit. So we'll just start here. So start here, pull a little bit, and then just pull a little bit. And you're going to need about 3 pieces like this. All right, how are you doing? So you're going to want to have 3 pieces, keep them all with the fibers going in the same direction, and just lay them out wherever. Perfect. Everybody have their 3 pieces? So you want to just separate the ends a little, grab it with your thumb, and just gently pull. Okay. So once you have your 3, take one and roll it into a loose ball shape. Just roll it into a loose ball shape. Just roll it up. Doesn't need to be tight. You want to keep it a little on the loose side so the fibers have somewhere to go to. And then you're going to take your second piece and you're going to wrap it around your first ball with the fibers going in the opposite direction. Okay, so I rolled this one this way. I'm going to turn it now and put the next one with the fibers going in the opposite direction. Everybody with me?
Wait, when you said opposite, you mean
So is
right
this
angles? I mean,
at perpendicular? Yes, yes.
or
So let me see. This is your first ball, and they're going this way. So you're going to want to turn it and wrap it this way. Okay. Your third and final one is going to go again the opposite direction, perpendicular. All the fibers are going to go perpendicular. turn it over, roll it around. Pick it up, turn it over, roll it around. And when it's nice, and all the fibers are starting to felt, and you've got a little bit of a little ball here, vigorously roll it around. Give it some really good pressure. And then make sure you keep turning it so that it stays in its round shape. And at some point, as you notice, they're getting a lot smaller.
Yeah, it's shrinking.
It's shrinking. It's going to be pretty dense and there's not going to be much left to squish. And at that point, you're kind of done. And then what you would do, oopsie, you would rinse it out, do your final shaping, and then let it dry. And you've now made a wet felted ball.
You said rinse it out?
Yeah, we're not, you can later take it out to the bathroom and rinse it out, or not. All right, here's a towel.
Oh.
So how'd everybody do? Let's see your balls. Fabulous, fabulous.
I've done it.
And then when you get enough of them,
Yeah.
you also can do different shapes. I've made some oblong beads. I don't know if you can see that. These will eventually turn into some earrings. And you can make different sizes. There's really,
Wow,
yeah.
that's awesome.
You've seen all those felted ball garlands? Now
Yeah,
you know how to make your own.
that's awesome.
Take this here, put it in this hand.
It's over there. So that is the basic process of wet felting. Now I'm going to go a little bit further and show you how I make one of these vessels. So we start with a resist. So this is a piece of packing foam, like those thin sheets of packing foam. You can use whatever as long as it is waterproof. I have made these out of old wallpaper. I've made these out of a yoga mat, but anything that is waterproof. And they can be made in various sizes. So this size gives you this size felted vessel. This is the size I use to make this one. So you can definitely see how much it shrinks. So we're going to start with the small one. And on my table here is bubble wrap. Nothing special, just bubble wrap. You want to make sure that the bubbles are still intact. If it's mostly popped, you're not going to want to use it. So we start by laying out roving on the resist. And I'm going to pull it so that I get these super fine little wisps of roving, and I'm going to set it down so that those wispy ends overlap my circle. And I'm going to go all the way around the circle with this roving. This is where I would have really cool theme music playing. So, do, 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 do. Just going to lay all of this down, making sure that there are wispy edges all the way around. Anybody have any questions about?
Why do they have to be wispy?
Eventually, we are going to put many, many layers, and those are going to wrap around. And if they're too thick, you're going to have this like bulky midsection, and nobody wants a bulky piece.
No.
Okay, so once I get all the things around, I'm gonna lay roving down in the center. I wanna make sure I have a nice layer of roving so that there is enough bulk eventually to hold the shape. Okay, so I've got my layer down. I'm gonna take my soapy water and I'm gonna get this all wet. Flip up my bubble wrap, and then I'm gonna gently push this so that the water gets everywhere, all the way out through the wispy edges. Flip it over. And so right now I've got this resist and the wispy edges and everything's wet. So now you're gonna fold over those wispy edges towards the center of your resist. So now we have the circle again, okay? So we're gonna repeat that until each side has 3 layers.
Oh,
But since that's really boring to watch, I have prepared one that's ready to go.
magic.
So here it is.
So does the thing stay on the inside, your resist thing?
Yes, so the resist is on the inside right now,
Okay.
okay? And this particular one, I've gone ahead and done that 3 times, okay? So now we get to the felting part. So I'm gonna cover it in the bubble wrap. I'm gonna roll it up, just loosely like to begin with. And just like when we made the balls, we're gonna start out gently. And I'm just gonna roll it. Sit down for this part. I'm just gonna roll it, just gently to start. And then I'm going to open it up. And you can tell that it's starting to work because the resist is getting, like all the fibers are shrinking, which is causing the resist to curl up. So now I'm gonna turn it 90 degrees and keep rolling gently.
Just sing whistle while you work. No, just kidding.
What's up?
Whistle while you work.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how to whistle.
Oh, no.
I know, it's one of the few skills I don't have. I also don't sing well, so don't suggest that. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it again. And now I'm gonna roll it a little bit tighter and be a little more aggressive. Also gonna squeeze out some of the water so it doesn't get me drenched. All right, and this is where towels come in handy because this table is slick. And you're just gonna agitate it back and forth, a little bit more pressure. And you're gonna turn it, see it's really starting to, it's still kind of, the fibers are still kind of loose, so we don't wanna take the resist out yet. And we're just gonna keep rolling. So you guys are all artists. What kind of art do you guys do?
Not me.
Not you?
He is too, an artist.
Yeah.
And a professor.
And a comedian?
And a comedian.
I've done the dry felting before, but this is a lot less painful.
The needle felting?
yes.
Yeah. This is needle felted, and then I have some other examples I can show you of recent needle
I want to know
felting.
where you get your roving too, because that's a lot.
So roving can be found at most yarn stores. I don't know Topeka at all, so I couldn't tell you where in town. In Lawrence, there's a great
UN's fabric?
Yarn barn?
Yarn Barn, yes. We love Yarn Barn. You can get it online. There's a place in Texas called Living Felt.
Okay.
They have a great website where you can order stuff, and they also do a lot of online tutorials on YouTube, so, yeah.
So what got you into this? What made you go to this wet felting? And how long have you been doing it?
Not long. Actually, I took a class back when I still lived in California. It was a soft sculpture class, and she showed us wet felting. But honestly, I did not enjoy that class, so I didn't do much with it. So up until, I think last summer is when I took a class at the art center, and it just lit me up, and I've been doing a lot. But I've always been drawn to textile arts. Like as a child, I learned how to sew, I made clothes, and I went to the International Quilt Show in Houston in the fall, and there was an example of a woman who combined quilting with ceramics. And
yeah.
that just, I was like, oh my God, what? And so that's where I got the idea to do these pin cushions. And yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited about this process and to see where it takes me. Okay, so I'm to the point where now my fibers are all pretty much started to felt. And oops, better not pop my bubbles. And it's starting to shrink. So I'm going to open it up and take the resist out. So at this point, I have to decide which do I want to be my top and which do I want to be the bottom. Top? Who wants this to be the top?
No, when you say top, does that mean outside or the inside?
So it's going to be the outside. So so right now we've got, this is the top, and I have to cut this hole.
Okay.
So either, or you can even do one on the, like I could decide to cut, I think I'm gonna do that maybe, do the slice up here, and then it'll be more of a,
Yeah, it'll be like a base.
yeah, so let's try that. So, when cutting this, you want to cut as small of an opening as possible in order to get the resist out, because it's going to stretch and you can't put it back. But you can always cut a bigger hole. So, cut my hole. And you want to be careful that you don't cut your resist, which I did, oh well.
We won't
And then
We
you just
can't see it.
carefully, hopefully I've got my fibers felted enough. Never done this as a performance before, so who knows what's going to actually happen here. But I feel like maybe my fibers are not quite ready to come out, so we're going to just poke that back in there and felt it a little bit more before we do that. Twist it.
This is where the music comes in.
This is where we need music.
Yeah.
We
Right?
can do a polka dance or something.
I know. Definitely have some kinks to work out for this to be a performance piece, but that's all right. But if you are interested in learning more about this, I am teaching this in a workshop on February 9th in my home studio in Lawrence. And you can find all the information on my website, which is susanpoer, Poer.com. All right, I'm going to turn it the other way and be vigorous with it in that direction as well. And in the workshop, you get to make both sizes of the vessel, including warming up with the little ball again. Oh yeah, much better. Okay, we're gonna pull that resist out. Voila. And then these can be used over and over again. Okay, so now that we have this opening here, we kind of want to heal the wound, so to speak. So I just get my fingers wet and I just kind of rub that opening so that the hole gets felted as well. And this is where it kind of stretches out.
Is felting sort of an entanglement? Is that what it actually is? Entanglement?
Yeah, so
The
that's
fibers?
one way to look at it. So the fibers are entangling and they shrink. The water helps them shrink and then they get denser. But yeah. And it's a form of non-woven material. So there are big machines. I know that, is it Casey Scraps?
Scraps.
Do you know about it?
Yeah, we
They-
saw them doing the machine.
Yeah, they have a huge machine where you can just put all these different, whether it's roving or other, like wool blankets, wool sweaters, things of that nature, and you can put it in this big machine and create very large felted pieces of fabric. Okay, so
So I have a question about the inside, because I
Yeah.
can see that, do you want the fibers completely compressed together, or is it
Yeah.
okay that it's loose like
I
that?
mean, it's not great.
Okay.
And I don't know if I just didn't felt it enough or if this particular, not all roving acts the same.
Got it.
So this could be one that doesn't felt well. And I think I've had problems with this particular one before, but it doesn't really matter, right? But yeah, no, you want that to be felted. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that roving, but it ain't felting, so whatever. Okay, so now that we have taken it out, felted the edge, we want to roll it in a different direction now so that we can get all the different directions of fibers felted. So I've kind of turned it this other way.
And it won't like stick all back together?
It might,
Oh, okay.
it just because the felting didn't really go on the inside all that well, so it might, or those fibers will continue not to felt and it won't be a problem.
Who does what it wants?
I know, right? I mean, you're all artists. You know that the creative process is not a straight line and it takes you on quite the journey every time. But yeah,
Oh, look at it.
it's still a vessel, so that's a win.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I think that's all I'm gonna do on this one here. So then the next process would be to completely rinse it out because you want to get all the soap out of it. And then I would do a final shaping of it. And I would stuff it with a towel, newspaper, whatever, and let it dry completely in that stuffed form. And then when it's dry, you remove the stuffing and it holds its shape.
That's awesome. Cool. Wow. Yeah.
And that's the magic of wet felting. Any questions about that? Okay. So I have other workshops coming up, and I'll just show you more. This is what I call an intention candle. It's basically taking a vision board and putting it on a candle, and every time you light that candle, you're revisiting what your intentions are. So I always do this one in January, as close to the new moon as I can. So I'm having a workshop to make intention candles a week from Sunday. on my website, susanpoer.com. And what I love about these is that, so this is the one I did for last year, and just about everything that I put on here has come to be. So they're potent little candles. So then wet felting on February 9th. I'm doing a ceramic workshop on March 30th, where everybody will be able to make their own little Easter bunny. And felting can also be done with needles, and the needle, it's basically you poke the fibers until they are, what was the word you used? Entangled and dense. And the needles are about this long, and about this much of it is a very, very sharp, pointy device with barbs on it. So that it goes through whatever you're poking, grabs the fibers, and kind of the agitation of going in and out. So that's how I made my S-patch. And then these are little samples of needle felting, and then I've beaded over them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so that's kind of where I'm exploring this as a process for one of my pieces for hopefully an upcoming show. All right, that's it for me. Any questions?